Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to our second recording for our AWS Cloud Penetration Testing course. And today we'll be setting up the lab, the first lab. We will set up the Ubuntu machine, a vulnerable one. Then we'll also set up the Windows machine and install some vulnerable services. Now we're trying to emulate what it looks like on a client environment that has not been having a good patch management. And you might ask, or you might wonder if this is something real. 100% yes. I have seen funny stuff in client environment. I cannot disclose all that because of agreement, but just to make you understand that you may be wondering if this emulates reality. It does. I can tell you that some clients run very old legacy applications that the patches had been released, but they just don't care as long as it's working. They try to keep it behind the firewall or something that they bought from the market that they told them it's going to do some magic stuff and keep them safe, and not understanding that the fact that it's a vulnerable service application running in there, all an attacker needs is just to get on the environment, then it's game over. Well, enough with the talking. Let's get right into the business and see how that works. So let's create our account. Like I told you, I'm going to show you all that stuff. So you just need to go to Amazon.com console. Then you'll have this page. You click on create an account. So I'm going to create an account. I'm going to set up from scratch. So I will be using an email address to do this. Then I'm going to put the password, a strong one, very strong one, you have to. Okay, then let's give this a name. Choose a name for your account. You can change this name anyways. I'm just going to give it a name. That sounds like a good name. All right, let's continue to the next step. So here we need to do this capture stuff, R647Q. Okay, that should be good. Okay, I guess I didn't put that correctly. All right, let's try another one. That's the 6W2 as a DB, right? I hope this is good. Okay, so let's fill up a bit more details here. How do you plan to use this? Personal. You just follow what I'm doing anyways. It's personal. I'm giving it a name. Okay, a phone number. Then country region. I'm gonna go for. I'm currently in Africa, so let's look for where I'm at the moment. Mozambique. Great. Address. Now you might be wondering how come I'm not hiding none of this stuff. Anyways, you want to find me, you can find me. I don't have no worries. I didn't steal from nobody. Okay, that should be it. Yeah. Let's get this going. So I have to put a card. So I'm going to cut this part of the video out just because I don't want to show you my card details. But you just follow suits and I'll come back to this. Okay, so all that stuff done, and I'm supposed to get a code and put the code. So I just got the code. I'm just going to enter the code here. Okay, that looks good. And let's see. Okay, great. So we're going to go for basic support, free. We don't want to do anything that will cost us money here, except at some point I'll have to do stuff like that. So let's complete this sign up and see what happens next. So we're done signing up. You can see if you got the congratulations, thank you for signing up to AWS. It means you're good to go. So we're just going to go to our management console platform so we can start doing stuff from there. So if you've done this correctly, you're going to receive 2 emails. The first one telling you congratulations, you now have access to AWS compute storage and all the stuff within the free tier for the next 12 months. So that's good to go. It means you've got nothing to worry as long as you follow me. I'll try not to make you spend extra cost. We're going to keep everything we're doing within the confines of the free tier. So let's sign in into our account. I'm going to sign in as the root user because I didn't create any IAM user yet. We're going to do that along the path. So put in our email, click next. We're going to put in this capture stuff. Pretty annoying sometimes. BB4R, then 4. We'll submit that. Then we'll put in our password. At some point, we'll have to set up a 2FA thing just to secure this account pretty strong in case of compromise of your password. You've got nothing to worry about. Okay, so this is going to load up and we have the management console page right here. All right, at this point we can see I am somewhere in Asia Pacific. They kept me in Mumbai. I'm not sure why that happened, but I'm sure it's the system intuitively looked for a database closer to where I am and gave me this. But that doesn't mean I cannot change this. On some of my other accounts, I'm using the US East, but I'm going to keep this here for now because I can see it's pointing to that AP South Africa or South 1, sorry, which is pretty much okay for me. Okay, so let's walk around these just to make you understand. There are services. We can see them right here, or we can even search for something. Let's say I want to search for S3. I can just type S3 here. It's going to show me all the outcomes for S3. If I want to search for EC2, I can do that here as well. It's going to show me all the outcomes for EC2. So you can either go via the services and look for what you want probably, or you can just search right here. So right here in the dashboard, we can see recently visited services. There's EC2, there's key management, there's IAM, secret management. So we're going to set up a few basic things, one of which will be the key, because we want to ensure that we have a secure way to connect to any of our instances which we're going to be doing or using right here. Okay, so let's straighten things up a bit. This is a root account, and it's always not best practice to use your root account, but for certain reasons we'll stick with the root account now until we're able to create an IAM. But let's secure this thing up a bit. So right here where you have your username, you will see this drop down arrow. You just click on it. You have options to set up stuff. I'm going to go to security credentials because we want to just tighten things up a bit. So we're going to set up the MFA, then we might create a key. But at some point I will cover or I will cut those part of the videos out because I don't want to show my credentials. So we can see the first option we have here is the password. I'm just going to leave that. I'll go for the multi-factor authentication. So I'm going to activate MFA for this account. So we have options, either virtual MFA, which is the authenticator app, which is what I'm going to be using, or you can use the U2F security key or maybe other hardware MFAs if you have. So I'm going to go for the virtual. Then we've got the QR code right there. When I'm ready, I'm just going to show it, but I'll cut that part of the video out and scan it. All right, so I'm going to suck this thing out. I hope to see you soon again. Just hang around. Okay, so I got my MFA set up. I had to cut this part out because I didn't want to showcase my the barcode. Okay, pretty much cool. Now we're done with MFA. Right here we can see a CloudFront key pair. We'll come back to this one. We'll be dealing with CloudFront. The access keys we have to create. So I'm going to once again blank this part out, create my access keys, but you should just click on create access keys and it will show you this stuff. You can download the access key file. I'm not going to show the access keys, so I'm just going to download the key file to my local system. So you should do the same thing. You want to keep this really safe. So I've got my access key created, and it's pretty safe right there. Okay, I'm not going to show you that stuff. Then over here, the account identifier. Now, when we get into S3, want to create ACLs, we might come back to this because we'll need these account identifiers to create ACLs for our S3 buckets. Okay, so this is pretty much the first part. We got this account a bit secure. Now let's start building the lab from the EC2 instance for Ubuntu, then also the Windows. Okay, so I made a change to my region. I'm using Africa Cape Town because it's pretty much closer to me where I'm at the moment. Next, let's build that first. I'm just going to search for AWS Marketplace. The home page, go right there. Since I'm already authenticated, I don't think I have to do that. Sign here anymore. Great. So hello Leslie, you can see. Great. A few things that you need to be certain about. You want to be sure you stick within free pricing plan because you don't want to spend no money, remember. All right, so let's go for operating system. You've got other options, but I'm not touching any of that. I'm trying to keep this video pretty precise. So this is going to load up the available options, and we're going to look for Ubuntu. We're building the first Ubuntu. We've got all these wonderful options within the free tier, but I'm just going to look for Ubuntu 16.04 LTS Xenon. All right, I'm going to click this. A few things to straighten up here. We're greeted with this. You want to be sure you're seeing that free tier here. Okay, so I'm pretty okay with everything else here. Continue to subscribe. I'm going to click that. Then I should set up a few things very critical. One is the region. I can see I'm using the Cape Town here. Just to verify again. Cape Town, South Africa. You want to be sure the region you are, because if you're going to build a lab, all the machine in that lab has to be in the same region. If not, you'll be having networking problem. They won't be able to communicate. Okay, so we've got terms and condition, accept terms. Anyways, we're pretty cool with that. Then this is just going to set this up pretty much for us. We'll wait for that, then we can just click next until we're done with this. But when I get to a point where I need to show you stuff, I'm going to come back and show that stuff. So at this point, you should receive 2 emails. One of them welcoming you to the marketplace and letting you know that you can now use the instance for free. And the other one just making you understand that you won't be charged for using this instance because we had clicked free. A few things to set up here again. If I show details, I'm going to stick to the T2 micro. We can see all these options falls within 0 anyways, so we're not charged for none of this stuff. You want to be very certain this is pretty straight up. If not, you might end up incurring charges that are irrelevant. Okay, so I'm going to continue to configuration so I can configure this instance. The fulfillment option, we can see that stuff going on there. 64 bits, please. You gotta use 64 bit like I told you already. Software version is 16.04. We're cool with that. Then the region. Now I'm going to look for the region that I want this to be in, because remember, whatever region you're using, they all have to be in the same region. If not, you're going to have problems trying to network them to be able to communicate. So I can see that I selected Africa Cape. I just want to stick with what I have here. It doesn't mean I can use anything else under the marketplace. I can actually choose any other option, but I have to, all my images will have to be in the same region if I want them to communicate effectively. That's for the networking aspect of this. So we can see the pricing. I'm not charged, very important. Okay, infrastructure pricing, this is for those guys, not for me anyway. So so pretty much cool with this. the AMI ID is there, the AMI alias is there, then the product code, all the stuff there. Okay, so I'm going to just continue to launch in this instance since I'm done with the pretty much configuration that I have there. Now there are a few other things that you may need to set up here, and I'm going to show you how to set up. One is the VPC, very important. Then two, we'll need to set up the keys to be able to connect back to this thing. Currently you can see there is nothing there. So we're going to create a key, then we'll be using that key to connect back to this instance. Okay, I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, just a few more things to showcase here. We can see the user's instruction. You can actually pull this down and look at that. But if you look at this, choose action. Okay, we can either launch from a website or launch through EC2. If I'm launching through EC2, you see I'll have to choose this action more or less like through an EC2 that I want to launch. But I'm going to stick to launch from a website. So we can actually select this instance type. Remember, I'm going to stick with something. I don't think I need M5 large. That might be a little too much. I'm just going to go to C3 Nano, maybe. But this seems a little bit too small, about 500 gigabyte memory to CPUs. Okay, maybe we'll just try. Let's see. Okay, this is pretty much fine. Okay, great. All right, so a few other things to showcase here. I want to pay attention to that anyways. Then the VPC setting. So if you look at this, we've got this default option. That's because that's our default VPC. If I click on create VPC, I'm going to see where it shows me what I have currently as a VPC. And you want to note that you want to pay attention to that VPC because you want to be sure the other instances also fall within that zone so you don't have problems with connectivity. So if this loads up correctly, we can see this VPC is what we have there. Look at the ID 0E05. We can see that right here, 0E05, the same thing. And we can see the CIDR is the 172.31/16 network. So please, I urge you to pay attention to that because we're going to use this for the other ones as well. Okay, so that is selected. Then for the subnets, now I by default I should have more than one subnet. If I click here, I can see there are about 3 of them. So that's because I've got this out 1C, 1B, 1A. So you want to also pay attention to whatever you're using. 1B, 1A, 1C are not all the same. If I have this in 1B and I'm having something else in 1C, you will have issues connecting them together, or you might have some network issues communicating between both of them. So whatever you're using, in this case 1C is selected, I may as well just switch that to 1A. But just to show you something, if I click on create, I'm going to see I've got all 3 of them in by default. Now I did not create these subnets. I can as well create my own subnet if I want to, but just to show you that by default they already the moment the account is created, these subnets are generated. So we can see them right here based on the Cape Town region that I've selected. So I can either stick with the first one here. I think I'm going to just go with this OE05, the /20, that's 172.31/16. I'm going to go with this one here. Not because it matches with what I have on the VPC, but I think I'm just going to stick with this one here. So let's verify that. Okay, I think this is pretty much cool. All right, great. So we can see it is right there. So anything else, the security group, currently, I think I will stick to the defaults. I will set that up later. Then the next important thing is the key. Currently no key, so I'm going to create a key pair so I can have it on my local box so I can use that as well to connect back to this instance that I'm actually creating. Okay, so this is going to load up. So currently I don't have no keys, so let's create a key pair. All right, so I'm going to blank out some of this part just so I can keep it a bit safe. So let me just give it a name. Then I'm going to stick to RSA. .pem is fine for me. I don't need to add a tag. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to create that key then I should have my key right there. So download the key and make sure you keep it pretty safe. Okay, so right here we can now refresh this. We should be able to see the new key which we just created there, Blessley key. So that's what we'll be connecting with. And also on my local box, you should find it in my download folder. So if I bring this up and show you my download folder, you will see it's right there. And the root key as well is right there, very important. Okay, so moving on with this, we've got the keys, we've got everything. Let's just launch this and we'll be good to go. Okay, so yay, congratulations. Okay, great, we've got our instance launched, and now we should be able to connect to that instance since we've got it launched and it's running pretty cool. Okay, so let's quickly connect to our instance and build it up to doing what we want it to do. Okay, I think I'm only going to be able to set up the Ubuntu in this video. I don't want it to go pretty long. Then maybe in the next video we'll do for the Windows. So let's try and finish this up. If I fall back in here, I can see that key right here in the dashboard. If I go to instances, if you don't have this, you can just search EC2 and we can see that instance and it's running, the state it's running. So we're going to copy the public IP and I'm just going to connect to it. So right here, I'm going to use SSH, I'm going to pass in that key, then I'm going to put in the IP address. So that's 13.245.16.39. So let me connect to that instance and build it to do what I want to do with it. Okay, so wait for that verification to go through, then we should be good to go. It takes a while because it's the first connection to that instance. Okay, initially I had a struggle. I realized that I did not set up a security group properly to be able to connect to it. So to solve that, you can, right here, you can go to networking. You will see security group. Once you click security group, you're going to have this open up for you and it's going to be showing these details. So you go to inbound. Currently, if you click inbound on your screen, you're only going to see this first rule right here, which means only source from the security group can connect to it. So to fix the problem of connecting to it from your box, edit the inbound rule. In my case, I'm creating that SSH connection rule, so we can see that all you need to do is add rule. You'll open up one of these, then select SSH. In this case, SSH. Then it's custom. So what I'm doing is, in the case of custom, I didn't choose custom, I choose my IP. I think it's recommended you do the same, because if it's custom, anybody anywhere can actually connect. Or do not choose this and do not choose this. Okay, better if you're going to be accessing it from that specific IP, choose your IP. So you can see right there, my IP is pointing out there. So which means I'm only going to be allowed to connect apart from the security group if I have this IP. Okay, great. So you may wonder, what if someone spoofs this IP? I'm not going to answer that here anyways. So once you're done, you can save the rule. Then you can probably go out of this. You should go back to your terminal and try to initiate the SSH connection. And now you should be pretty good. So yes, I'm going to accept that. Then I should be able to connect. Please log in as a root Ubuntu rather than user roots. Okay, I don't know if this is connected already. Connection closed. Okay, I'm going to try to fix this because I'm trying to log in. I have to log in as roots. So let's roots and get this thing fixed. Pretty much cool. It wants me to log in as user and not as roots. Okay, all right. You may face this challenge, so I'm not going to cut this part out just so you can see how to fix that. So let's use the default username, user. Okay, and we should be good to go. Permission denied public key. That is root key. So let's fix this pretty much in background. So we're going to log in as user Ubuntu, which is what we should have done, not actually user. Okay, we should be good to go now. Okay, great. So we are right in the box. Sorry, I shouldn't ID just to show we can see where Ubuntu. Now we can still use the sudo command to switch to roots. So I can exit this. All right, so let's build this up. Just set up a few services running. Then we're going to cut this video here. It shouldn't go beyond 30 minutes. So the first command we're going to run is the apt-get update, apt-get upgrade. So sudo, I'm going to be using sudo best practice. Do not run this as roots. So let's do updates. Then let's pass the ampersand symbol. Oh, sorry, my keyboard sucks. Okay, apt-get. Let's do distro. Let's upgrade distro. Okay, the first command executed. I'll wait for this to finish and I'll come back to you. Okay, so we got that first part done. Next, let's clone this vulnerable VSFTPD to our box. So you can look at the command that git clone. We're cloning it. Just follow suits if you want to really get the grabs. So we're going to clone this down to our box. Then we're going to, it's done. If I ls there, we can see it's right there. So let's just set up a few things. Sudo apps get, I want to build essential. Okay, I'm going to get this running. Sorry, wrong typing. Just going to fix this in the background. So downloading, installing the build essential, you may wonder what command I ran. Simply that's the sudo apt-get install build essential. Okay, so we're gonna wait for this to finish. Pretty much it's done. Now we can build this vulnerable VSFTPD stuff which we just put from GitHub. So let's quickly get that sorted out. So we cd into the file which we downloaded. Now we can build this here, but before we build this, I'm going to make a change to this make file. So I'm just going to use nano to do this. And the change is just going to be on the link line. So I'm going to add lcrypt to that. So we're going to just add passing the comma, then add lcrypt to this, and this should be pretty cool. We can save this and exit this. Then now we can build this. So we'll just run the command make, and this should start building. Okay, so if all goes well after running the make, you should see all this gibberish stuff, and once you're done, you can verify if it's done. We can see the VSFTPD binary in there, so which means this is good to go. Verifying that using the LHA, we can see actually it's right there. And with the read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read and execute. If you don't know what permissions are, check on our YouTube channel. We've got videos talking about permissions, file permissions on Linux. Okay, so next, I'm just going to walk you through some basic setup. So first I'm going to add a user. I'll use my name again, Blesley. So, oh, sorry. Sudo SE here, then user add. Okay, add myself as a user. Then I'm going to make the, I think I'm going to exit this. I'm going to use the sudo make dir. Then let's do the USR share. Then let's call this directly my name anyways. So once I'm done, I'm going to copy a few stuffs in. So I'm going to do sudo cp, then the VSFTPD, the stuff which we have in there. I'm going to copy it to user share. No, I'm going to take it to local, not share. Then I'm going to put it in sbin. I think it's the VSFTPD. Okay, If all goes well, that's fine. Then again, I'll run the sudo cp. I'm going to copy the vsf tpd. My earbud battery is almost dying. Okay, vsf tpd 8, I think it's there. Okay, great. So I'm going to copy this to user local man, then I'll put it in man 8. Okay, that's pretty good. Then sudo cp, we'll do vsf tpd conf the 5. Great. So we'll put that in usr local man. Then let's put this in man 5. No. Okay, great. So we can now sudo cp vsf tpd.conf, send this to etc, etc. Okay, great. Now all these ran quickly without error, so which means we're good to go. Now before we run the binary, we're just going to do a little bit of verification to see if that thing is in there. All we've done is pretty cool. Okay, so let's run the binary. We're just going to clear all the screen to have a fresh slate. Then we're going to use the sudo usr local. We kept it in sbin. Okay, then we have the vsf tpd. Then I'm going to escape this so it goes in the background. Okay, so that's running pretty much. Now to verify ftp, I'm going to connect local host. Great. So which means we've got okay, but we've got that connection running. That's the most important thing. We can see that little error there, cannot locate user specified in, but don't worry about that. We can run the help command just to verify. Okay, everything looks pretty cool at this point. Okay, so let's just clean up a few more things. This video is staying longer than I expect. Okay, so let's configure anonymous access on this FTP server. So we're going to just follow the following command to do this. We'll make it there, call this a var, then we'll call this FTP. I think we'll create this. Then we're going to use add. Okay, great. So let's add to var FTP. So let's add anonymous user FTP. Okay, that executed with that fine. So ch own. So let's change this to roots group. Then we're going to pass that on var FTP. That we're trying to create a path that we'll be using to maybe escalate privilege or stuff like that. Then chmod. We'll use the flag OGW. I think that works pretty fine. Then once again, if you don't know what that is, I'm not going to be explaining here. We've got a video on YouTube explaining all that stuff. FTP. Okay, all that looks pretty good. Now finally, let's make some changes to the VSFTPD conf file to allow anonymous access to be able to authenticate. So we're going to use nano etc vsftpd conf. So we're going to look for the line that allow local enable, and if that's yes, we just need to uncomment the line. So if you follow suit, we can see allow anonymous FTP, anonymous enabled, yes. Okay, that's pretty good. Uncomment this to allow local user to log in. So we want to allow local user to log in. That's what we need to do. So we just uncomment this. So which means local user should be able to log in, and we're pretty much cool. Right enabled. Okay, we'll leave everything else the way it is. We just want this one out of the way. So I'm going to write this and exit this, and we're pretty cool. Now we're good to go with the Ubuntu server, and I'm going to stop this video here. So in the next or the follow-up video, we'll be setting up the Windows instance. Okay, once again, we've got the FTP set up. pretty much cool. If I run the FTP on localhost, I'm just going to exit this, sorry. We can see that we can connect. We're good to go at this point. So thanks for sticking around this long. It's getting pretty fun. I'm going to have to shut down here. The next video will record for Windows, and once we're done with that, we'll build our Kali Linux attack box. Then we can get right at business. At some point, we will be using a Kali Linux attack box that is not in the same VPC, just because I want to show you some stuff, how an attacker can actually go from outside inside. Thank you, and see you soon again. Bye-bye.